Hey, what's up, gang? Dr. Lee here. I'm on day 90 of my solid food vacation, so I'm pumped because this was a big milestone for me. I was really hoping to be able to, to get to this point and then go beyond. Initially I thought that, at 90 days I should be cleaned out because that's what John Rose talks about. He said, when he took him 90 days before, he stopped having solid bowel movements and was going more for just the juice poops, and he got cleaned out. And so, 90 days was kind of that initial earmark. And then in my mind, I said, well, I'm probably not as clean as that, or as he was, because he was raw food for a long time, or at least he was vegan, and I was not. I was keto before this. So for me, I was like, oh, maybe 120 days. So I'm definitely now crossing some thresholds that I'm proud of right now and excited, and I'm noticing the benefits. One of the biggest benefits that I've experienced so far, because energy comes and goes. It goes. There's days where you feel more heavier detox. For me, I've felt heavier detox. Other days that I have experienced tons of energy. And so what's happening is it's slowly my baseline energy levels are creeping up quite a bit. But the thing I'm most excited about that I've noticed is my ability to observe my thoughts and emotional reactions, especially when triggered. So, people will say certain things that just get under your skin, and it can just, someone can cut you off in the road, all that kind of stuff. Usually that's not a trigger for me, but I know it is for other people. But just sometimes rude people, like little things that just get under your skin. I'm able to observe that now from like this sort of detached place where I feel it getting, like I feel myself getting triggered. I'm like, I don't like when someone does that, but I don't feel like I have to respond to it, or I'm not resisting the emotions that I'm experiencing as I go through it. And that awareness and the discipline to do it wasn't really there before. I always tried to be observant of my emotions and whatnot, but I think I was trying to tamp them down. And now it's like I can observe them and let it go, or observe it, feel it, and then let it go. And that has been that's huge for me. And that has to do with the juice, because it's something that's subtle that sneaks up over time, is that that internal self-discipline, because the body gets a little bit quieter. Maybe it's the mind gets quieter and you can observe the body better, and the body starts giving cleaner and clearer signals. And so for me, that's been cool. That's been really cool. And I started off this journey, and I had I have a little gripe list of things that I would like to see improve, but I didn't have any major health conditions before I started this. My big rationale for jumping into this was I wanted to take my body to the next level and my mind to the next level. And I wanted, because I as a chiropractor, I'll see 500-600 people a week, and I want to be able to be there and be 100% present and give more than I'm giving now. And by giving more, I know that it can't be by doing more work. I just have to be less, I have to have less interference myself. I have to have less obstructions in my mind, and then also in my body, so that I can help lead others to raise their potential, because I'm around people that need help. And if you've ever been around people that are hurting or they're suffering, are they always the easiest people to be around, or can they be draining? Yeah, so imagine that 10x or 100x, and that's my life. So I want to make sure that I'm able to always serve that population with joy and be able to influence them positively, versus always worried about, oh my gosh, how do I protect myself from these negative energies? And so I'm like, no, we got this. This is going to be a spiritual up-leveling by getting the body cleaned out, because mind, body, and spirit are all connected. And I want to make sure that I'm tuned into that at the highest level. So for me, I can say that I am definitely reaping the rewards in that department. My compassion has gone up. My sense of like clarity of thought has gone up. My intuition in the moment on what's happening is really heightened. And I think that has to do with this whole process is the body will actually go through decalcification. So it'll actually decalcify calcified tissues. So whenever the body has been under a lot of acidic load, it's that acid over time starts to tighten tissues, make them harder, make them sclerotic, and then ultimately they will start to calcify, because calcium is a buffer that the body uses to buffer the acid. So it's like, hey, we got too much acid here, we're gonna throw some calcium into it, and that turns into like a hardened calcium crystal stone. Not supposed to, you don't want that. The body does it because it needs to, but you don't want that because that calcifies tissue. I mean, it basically turns it to bone and renders it not very effective or usable. Well, the pineal gland, for those of you who are aware of the pineal gland, for like being the third eye, a lot of people talk about trying to decalcify their pineal gland, and they'll do different things, and I've heard people taking supplements like MSM, and I've never really been one to believe that supplements are the answer. I think there's a fundamental underlying issue that led to it in the first place, which is true. So that's going to be eating animal proteins, processed foods, grains, cooking your food. All that is what leads to the acid waste that leads to that problem in the first place. But the pineal gland is the spiritual center. It's how you connect to the higher levels of consciousness. And if that's been calcified, well, guess what we're doing when we do a solid food vacation? We're decalcifying the pineal gland. And that's huge. And that is huge. That's where you get the intuition from. That's where you get those out-of-body type experiences. That's where you get that, that, hey, we're all oneness that you experience, that drive to be in nature, that drive to help out other people, right? There's that connectedness, right? If you see people as separate than yourself, then you kind of become in this competitive mindset versus a collaborative, we're all in this together type of a mindset. And so by decalcifying the pineal gland amongst every other tissue in your body, by doing a solid food vacation and allowing your body to start to detoxify, then you're healing other tissues, then you start to now experience life in a way that you never experienced it before. And man, it is freaking awesome. It is so awesome. I am loving it. And 90 days has gone by fast. It's not been super hard. I mean, there's been ups and downs, don't get me wrong, but overall, the reward is so worth the investment of time and energy into juicing, and the days where you you learn and I've forgotten, like I'm like, crap, I didn't make enough juice, I'm about to get like hit a low energy state, but you know what you did, and then you learn from it, and then you move on. And so that's been the experience that I've had, and it's been absolutely awesome. And then I recently started becoming more active in one of the Facebook groups, which has been great to just see it, the camaraderie of other people that are going through this as well, which has been really neat to see where everyone's at. And there's people that are just getting started and they're having questions, and then there's people that are absolute rock stars that they're like, oh yeah, I juiced for 6 months straight, and it was like 6 months straight, like that's impressive. And I don't have a hard stop on this. 120 days, I guess, will probably be the point where I start questioning it a little bit more on, am I going to stop before I, go the distance just cycle through this? Because, that's the other thing is I'm realizing that detoxification is a process that can take years. I've seen that with healing and chiropractic, and that's just healing in general. Like, the more damage we've done to our bodies for years, it can take some time. So I'm very comfortable with that fact. And so with that, it's like, how far do I want to take this? So, if I, there's one person that I know of that went 6 months and they still weren't fully cleaned out. And so they've done multiple rounds. And so, I could definitely see this as being something that's I plan on this being part of a lifestyle in terms of like doing cleanses periodically. Not just always living off of juicing, but doing cleanses periodically. Like, hey, if I push it super hard, maybe I'll do like a week or 10 days and do a juice fast during that time, or during the seasonal changes, during spring and fall. That's something that makes sense as the seasons are shifting and changing. It seems like a good time to detox all the junk that we got in the body, and it's just to make this part of the the bigger lifestyle as seasons go for me. So those are the thoughts that I've got right now on this whole thing, and I'm absolutely a huge fan of this. I think everybody should do it. If you're considering it, that means that you're gonna do it at some point. If this is in the back of your mind, you're like, man, should I do this? I don't know. I'm a person who's very I need all the details ahead of time. I want to know, like, okay, what are all the things I gotta worry about? Like, I want to make sure I do it perfect. I want to do it right. And I've learning with this, like, you gotta jump in, just jump into it, and trust that you're gonna figure it out. Because as long as you get the rules are basically drink a lot of juice, at least a gallon's worth. Try to get half of that in vegetables. That creates like good sustenance. But you can play with that. That's not even a hard, fast rule. Like, you can do what I did for like 5-6 weeks. I did nothing but fruits because I wanted to push the detox harder. You can do that. Just try not to break it by eating or doing anything like that. Just stay consistent, and you'll do fine. You'll learn how to juice. You'll learn, what juicers to get, what juicers maybe not to get. By the way, if you can drop $500 on something, get the Nama J2 juicer. We had the Omega something juicer. Which wasn't cheap. I think it was like $300. And then we're using that for a long time, and then all of a sudden we switched to the Nama, and that thing kicks serious ass. So my wife and I were laughing, and we were just so thrilled to be like throwing stuff in the Nama juicer and not having to just sit there like plunging it down for like an hour straight of juicing. And doing that a couple times a day. And so now you just get to chop everything up, toss it in there, and it works like a charm. It's so freaking awesome. So I can't say enough good things about that company. They really thought it through. When we first got it, my wife was the one who found it and came across it because she's doing this as well. And she was like, this thing looks awesome. I'm like, how much better can a juicer really get? Like, this is fine. Like, our Omega works fine. Like, we got no problems with it. But in the spirit of being excited about the juicing and doing this together, I was like, hey, let's rock it out. Let's do it. And so we wound up getting the Nama, and it was a freaking great decision. It's cut down probably 30 to 40 minutes a day between the two of us, like, of standing in front of the juicer and just it's such a breeze. It really makes a big difference. And I was thinking if we went for something big, we might hold off and spend like $2,000 on one of those big cold pressed, juicers. And I was like, this I think is even probably better than those in terms of convenience and whatnot. So anyways, that's my take on juicers. But you'll learn all of these things as you go. You're not going to screw it up. So with whatever you got, start there. There's another person that was on the Facebook group, and they're talking about they're running out of money on this because they're trying to do everything GMO, organic, which I'm trying to do that as much as I can as well. But if you get religious about that, especially if the seasons, if it's not great where you're at, like, it can be freaking expensive. So you can wind up going like running out of money if you're trying to do everything so perfect. And I know John Rose talked about it, said, hey, organic is great, do it if you can. If you can't, it's still gonna do good. Just wash and clean everything really well, and still do the solid food vacation. So like, rock it out. This is put your body into such a state of detoxification that you really gonna have a hard time screwing it up as long as you go in and you go for it. So those are my 90-day thoughts. I love you guys, and I hope that you jump in if you haven't done it. If you're already on the journey, then keep it up. Like let's keep going. Let's get cleaned out, because we need to raise the consciousness of the world around us. All right, peace.